everybody. I know you're muted, but if you, for some reason, can't hear me, make sure you've connected to your audio. Oh man, nobody wants to put their video on yet. I want to see all my friends. Hi, how are you, Melinda? Welcome, welcome. And Anne Marie is here. Oh, Kim Kelsey, yay. Oh, good, all people I recognize. I love it. Awesome. Well, welcome. We're gonna wait until right at 10:30. I'm sure we're gonna have some people late because the time was advertised a little bit wrong between all of us, but we'll figure it out. Yeah, so in the meantime, just kind of hang out, wait for our friends.
Hi, Leslie. Hold on. How are you? Oops, you see my boobs and my tummy. There we go. How are you? I can't hear you. Hold on. Connect to audio. Okay, let me see what I did wrong here.
There we go. Hey, Jerry's here. Hey, Jerry. Hey, Diane. Who else did I see come in? Oh, Liberty. And Beth, Nancy. All right. It's exciting. I'm so excited to see you. Well, I can't really see you guys. Cool. Victoria, hey girl. I'm glad everybody got the right time. I know it said one thing on Facebook and what I was promoting, but I'm glad everybody got here at 10:30. Kelsey. Oh, hi, Sue. And Lynn. All my friends. Karen. Oh, all these familiar names and faces. Hi. Everybody's muted. I love it, but I love to see the faces every so often. Cool, so we have a few minutes until 10:30 and then we're, hey, and then we're gonna wait a few minutes after for people to join. So, you know, whatever you need to do in the meantime. I'm so happy you guys all came. Just so you know, you don't need any props or anything. You just need like a comfortable mat space. You don't even have to start on the mat if you don't want. We're gonna do like a little breath kind of workshop, and then we're gonna take that right into the workout so you can kind of get prepared. Hi, Jane. It's nice to see you. Jeanette, hey girl. Oh, everybody from far and wide. Oh, my friends from across the state. Hey, Lena. Come on in. So we're probably gonna have a bunch of people jumping in around the 11 o'clock time because we did promote the time on Facebook a little differently than what we put on Zoom. So just, I'm glad you guys all made it. Come on in and get settled. Hey, Steph. Cardi, Brenda. Anybody have their like family around or anybody working out with them or by themselves? No, nothing, nobody exciting. Yay. Okay. Hey, Poom, glad you made it. Jade. I love everybody popping in last minute. This is great. Make sure, guys, if you can't hear me, that you, if you're on your phone or your tablet, that in the corner you hit more and go to connect to audio so you can hear. And then, of course, you want to be able to see. That would be helpful. I don't have to see you. I'm not going to be making any corrections as we move along as individuals, but you are welcome to put yourself on the screen because I do like to look over and say hi every so often. I haven't seen anybody in a long time, right? Miss everybody. Who else just came in? Cool. For those of you on the screen who have your video on, can you wave at me if you can hear me? Okay. Let me know anytime if you guys can't for some reason, just unmute yourselves and yell at me because it's going to be hard for me to see the chat because I'm going to be moving along with you guys. So, but I think we'll be okay. This is our first, or my first virtual class. So we'll see how it goes. But thanks for showing up. One, for yourselves, right? To keep you healthy, to keep you home, and to keep you sane. So applaud yourselves for giving yourself this time today. And then thank you for showing up for Club Pilates and continuing to stick with us. And, you know, you guys are our family, so we really appreciate you interacting with us still despite the distance between us now. And then thank you for showing up for my class. I'm super excited to share a little bit about breathing and how it relates to Pilates and how it can help us get deeper into our exercises. And then we'll take what we've learned about the breath and kind of translate it into the workout. So you don't need anything, like I said before, but if you missed the little spiel, you don't need any props or anything. You just need good old you. You just need a comfortable mat. You don't even have to start on the mat if you feel more comfortable sitting in a chair, but just go ahead and find a comfortable seated position so we can just talk a little bit about the breath. So I guarantee that when you guys woke up today, none of you set your foot on the floor and said, take an inhale, take an exhale, right? So it's an autonomic, it's a function of the body controlled by the autonomic nervous system. So we don't have to consciously do anything, but our breath will still happen. It does so many things for us, thousands and thousands and thousands of things our breath does for us. But the number one thing is respiration, right? It gets oxygen in and carbon dioxide out. Deep inside of our lungs, like way down here where our ribs are, lie little, they kind of look like this, and they're called little cilia. And in the bottoms of the lungs, as the air goes in, if it gets down into those cilia, the cilia will exchange the air that just came in, the bad air, and filter it out and get the carbon dioxide out and just take what they need for the oxygen and the good air into the rest of the body. So one thing about Pilates is we're always talking about breathing deep, breathing into the ribs, breathing into the whole thoracic cavity. And one of those reasons is to get all of the air down into the deepest part of our lungs, where the deepest part of cleansing and respiration truly happen. The muscle that is actually mostly involved in breathing that we talk about in Pilates is your diaphragm. Anybody ever had the hiccups before? So the hiccups is basically your diaphragm, which is a dome-shaped muscle that lies right underneath of your ribs and separates your upper body from your lower. It spasms and it kind of does this, and it pushes air that was inside of your intra-abdominal cavity out of your mouth unexpectedly. Sometimes us as Pilates teachers, I'll admit I do it quite often. I will just hiccup during the middle of class or something like that. So it's my diaphragm trying to catch up with the intra-abdominal pressure that's happening, as well as the air coming in and out with my speaking. So the diaphragm is a dome-shaped muscle. So if you think about your hand, you can actually do it just like this. And you were to slice yourself in half right about at the ribs, that's where your diaphragm is. And like I said, it separates your lungs and your heart from all of the rest of your organs. You don't want those two things to be touching. It connects to your ribs. So if you put your hands right where your sternum is, right where your xiphoid process is, where you would give someone CPR, and you travel along your rib cage with your fingers, and it travels around through your back, and it connects all along those into those intercostal muscles, and then back down actually into the lumbar spine here. Okay, so those are the connections for the diaphragm. And as we breathe naturally, the diaphragm will move up and will move down inside of us, creating a change in intra-abdominal pressure, pushing air out, carbon dioxide, all the bad stuff out, and then allowing, when the diaphragm goes down, the inhale to come in, getting all the good, fresh oxygen into the lungs. So I want you to imagine like an accordion. Okay, so it's just really good imagery for Pilates diaphragmatic breath, because if you hold the accordion like it's supposed to be held, it opens and closes like this. And that's kind of how our rib cage and our thoracic cavity is going to move as our diaphragm goes up and down. Then we can think about that accordion as being this way, okay? And our chest expands forward and backwards as well. And then it also expands up and down, which is kind of a little bit more of what stimulates our diaphragm, is that up and down movement. But the point is that this is a three-dimensional diaphragmatic breath, and that is really what we're focusing on in Pilates. So when the diaphragm goes down, okay, it allows the chest to open more, and there's more space for air to get in. There's not a lot of air down here. All of the organs are getting, well, let's say squished. They're really not, but let's exaggerate for a visual here. So we're pushing all those organs down, so we have lots of room up here to fill up with air. Then as we exhale, the diaphragm moves up and it pushes all the air out of the lungs, and it creates a lot of extra space around the organs deep inside of our belly. Hence one reason in Pilates we're always saying exhale, draw the belly in, exhale, draw the belly in. So when you're exhaled, you have more space to engage those abdominals and draw your abs in and up under the rib cage. The transverse abdominis, which is the deep abs, the ones when we do the earthquake abs, my favorite, shaky, shaky, that's your transverse abdominis. And then your obliques are naturally going to engage when you breathe. So another great cue that you hear all the time in Pilates is draw the obliques in, draw the ribs in towards each other, drawing the abs in towards the midline, in towards the spine. All of those things are exaggerating the work that the breath is already doing for us, which is what gives us like that corset or that weight belt feeling that wraps around our torso. So I want you to take your hands really quick, and I want you to place them like right under, not where your xiphoid process is, but a little bit over to the sides under your ribs. And I want you to cough. And notice that when you do that, you feel your fingers getting pushed. That's your diaphragm. So just take a couple breaths, just take an inhale through your nose and an exhale through your mouth, and see if you can kind of feel it moving. Now, it's not so extreme as my hand is doing here, but you can feel it pushing in and out and up and down, and it is a mobile organ inside of you. Okay? But that's where it is, just so you kind of know. So then your ribs on your chest also move on, oops, there goes my poster, on respiration, right? So most of us are actually doing our respiration here. We inhale into the chest and exhale into the chest, or we're inhaling into the belly and exhaling into the belly, or exhaling out of the belly. Not that that is an incorrect breath, but what we're looking for in Pilates is the full thoracic cavity and the ribs to be expanding again in that three-dimensional pattern. So yes, maybe the sternum rises a little bit, but not without your ribs also expanding out to the side to allow for maximum air. So I want you to take your hands, and there's a couple options that you can place, or a couple options to place them. You can place them right on your rib cage in front of you here, allowing your middle fingers to kind of come together. Another option would be to kind of wrap your hands around yourself to feel the sides of your ribs as well as the front a little bit more. So whoever feels comfortable for you. And I want you to be able to feel a slight bit of the side of the ribs and the front. And as you inhale, I want you to feel your ribs pushing straight out. I want you to try to push your ribs out towards me and allow your fingertips to maybe splay open a little bit. And then as you exhale, I want you to see if you can soften your sternum. Allow those ribs to soften as well, and maybe those middle fingers connect back in towards each other. So this is the forward action that we're we're working with our ribs. We're inhaling, allowing them to slightly expand. And then as we exhale, we draw those ribs in towards each other. They never actually come to touch here, but it's almost like you're trying to knit them together, like a little tiny button or a little clip. The feeling that you have out to the sides when you inhale, I want you to imagine that you're pushing your hands out this way. So try to take an inhale. This can be a hard sensation to feel on your own, but try to inhale and feel your hands getting pushed out to the side. And then as you exhale, you can even use your own hands to push your ribs in towards each other. And again, allowing that knitting feeling, that closing of the ribs feeling. That feeling of the ribs closing in allows all that bad air to get out of the lungs and then all the good air to come back in. So I want you to take a couple of different positions with your body and think about how that affects your breath. So it's just sitting up nice and tall with your hands by your side. Just take a nice big inhale and a nice big exhale and just see what that feels like. Okay. And then I want you to reach forward towards the mat and round over. Imagine that you're kind of like sitting at your desk. I don't want you to think about Pilates. I just want you to round over, like maybe you're driving in your car. And I want you to take an inhale and an exhale. I don't know about you, but my inhale was just about half as big as my exhale, and my ribs barely did anything. Right? Now I want you to take your hands up above your head in any kind of way. Arms up, hands on your head, whatever feels good. Take a nice big inhale. Feel those ribs really expand. And as you exhale, the arms being up kind of allows more space here for you to feel those ribs move. So another reason our posture and what we talk about in Pilates being so important to our breath is we're actually restricting the amount of air that we're getting in our bodies on a daily basis, which is affecting our respiration, our ability to cleanse our lungs and our body, but it's also affecting our mind-body connection because there's studies that show that lack of oxygen to the brain cause even just for a short period of time, cause a depressive state. So if you're sitting at your desk or you're sitting in your car like this all the time, you're probably only breathing into the top part of your lungs. You're not fully engaging in respiration. You're probably not engaging very much of your core, and you're cutting off circulation to your brain, which you need while you're driving or doing your work. So super important in Pilates that we're trying to find our axial elongation, or a really good posture where our head is right over our shoulders, over our hips, and that allows our ribs and our torso to be placed inside of us in such a way that we can breathe in a three-dimensional pattern. Okay? Another breathing pattern I want to mention, because we're going to use this breathing pattern when we get into the exercises here in a moment, is an intercostal or a lateral flexion breath. So if you put one hand on the side of your mat or your floor next to you and just take a big lateral flexion up and over, that should feel pretty good. I know most of us have been sitting and doing a whole lot of nothing lately. And I want you to actually take your gaze up if that feels okay for your cervical spine, and just inhale here and try to imagine your ribs pushing more up towards the ceiling, like you're making more of a rainbow shape through the ribs. And then as you exhale, just let those ribs soften back down. So an intercostal breath inhales more into one lung than the other, and it allows your ribs to open and separate. Okay, try it on the other side. Notice that one side usually is a little stickier, so to say, than the other side. Okay? This is a really good thing to practice if you have scoliosis or any kind of curvature in your spine. If you tend to notice that you are super dominant on one side and the other, this is a great way to start to even things back out in your body with just your breath. The other thing that's cool about the intercostal breath is you can actually do it without being in lateral flexion. So over time, you can train your breath to, yes, your air has to go into both of your lungs, but you can actually feed more air into one lung than the other. Okay, so if you want to practice this with me, you can. It's a little bit challenging. I'm actually going to come, well, you guys know I'm not afraid to be awkward. I'm going to come awkwardly right up here to the screen for you. And I'm going to show you my ribs, and hopefully you'll be able to kind of see what's happening here. So basically, I'm going to inhale, or try to inhale into one of my ribs more than the other. I'm going to inhale into my right rib. See how my right hand expands out. Exhale. Inhale into my left rib. Exhale into my left. I've been practicing this for a long time, so it's probably pretty exaggerated compared to what you might be doing, but it is indicative of good core control. So after you've practiced that in your lateral flexion position quite a few times, try to sit sometimes with yourself, even in maybe in your meditations, if that's part of your personal at-home practice, and breathe into one lung more than the other. Again, that's super helpful for people who have scoliosis or curvature in their upper spine. They usually have one lung that's compressed more than the other. The other cool thing about that is that one of your lungs has 3 lobes and the other lung actually has 2 lobes. One of your lungs actually does a slightly better job at filtration than the other. So it's really nice when you can get air into both, especially that one that only has 2. Okay, so we're going to use that breath when we get into the mermaid. The last thing I want to talk to you about, and I get this question all the time, is, am I breathing right? Am I breathing right? Well, if you're alive, you're breathing right. You're doing great. The only contraindication to breathing is death. Everybody can breathe. But your breath is, in Pilates, a tool, not a rule. With that being said, we're always cueing you. Inhale, do this. Exhale, do that. And we have to give you some kind of a guide because we're also asking you to pull your belly in, pull your shoulders back, think about this, stop doing this, put your pelvis neutral, all these other things. But at some point, as we progress through our practice, the breath becomes super, super helpful in deepening the work for us and allowing us to get into some of the harder exercises that we might want to be able to try someday. The other types of breathing that I want to mention, the first one is a progressive breath, which we're actually going to start with a slight progressive breathing exercise. That's where we inhale for a certain number of counts and then exhale for a certain number of counts. You also have what we call the cleansing breath. That's one of my favorites. I'm always talking about cleansing breath in class. That's where you inhale fully as much as you can and exhale fully to the point where you actually have to draw in your next inhale, really allowing those cilia to empty out all those toxins fully. Another fun breath that some of you might hear, not a lot of you do this at the studio actually, but some of you guys might hear this in your other studios, is your percussive breath, where you're making some type of a noise or a sound as you're breathing, either on the inhale or the exhale. There's a really fun school of Pilates. I can't really remember the name off the top of my head, to be quite honest, but they actually use voice as their percussive breath. So for instance, if you were doing spine articulation, you would start with the letter A and you would say, inhale, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, and so on and so forth. They actually use that to help train singers and performers and dancers and such. So there you have your percussive breath. But what we're going to use mostly today is a progressive breath to kind of get us centered into our practice. And then we're just going to use the breath to kind of move us through the exercises. It's going to be in through our nose and a gentle breath out the mouth. I don't want you to feel like you have to be percussive. I don't want you to force that breath out. I just want you to imagine that you were gently blowing out a candle on a cake, but you don't want anyone to get like blown with the frosting or like blown with any of your ash off of your candle or whatever visual you need there. Okay. So let's get started. Just come to a comfortable seated position on the mat, wherever you feel like you want, or on a prop if that makes you more comfortable, and just rest your hands where they also feel comfortable. See if you can try to stack your head right over your shoulders over your hips, and allow your sits bones to ground into the floor or the mat wherever you are. If you're a yoga friend, try to pull the flesh away from the sits bones so that you can really perch right on top of them to have good posture. Again, that good posture is going to help us to breathe. As we breathe, if you feel so inclined, you're welcome to bring your hands back to any of the positions that we tried before in order to explore with your breath. Maybe see how it feels, maybe see how it changes, okay? Notice that's like in your body. But I'm gonna take you through a progressive breath, so if you wanna just sit and breathe with me, you're welcome to do that. So find a comfortable spot, eyes open or closed, whatever makes you happy, but try not to look down. So if your eyes are closed, even though your your eyelids are closed, your eyes are still moving around behind your eyelids. So allow them to lift a little bit away from the floor, like you were looking up to the horizon. And then from here, I just want you to take a nice big inhale, the biggest inhale that you've taken all morning long. I mean, all week long, all quarantine long. Just take that big inhale and notice what it feels like. Notice how full you're able to get, and then exhale out as much as you can. Just take a big cleansing breath to start. Just get all the air out of your lungs to the point where you need your next inhale, and then take your next one. Take a nice big inhale. And one more breath just like that. But this time as you exhale, try to draw those ribs in, soften that sternum, and see if you can pull the belly button into the spine a little bit to awaken that core. Let's take another inhale to start the progressive breath. So inhale through the nose as big as you can. When you get to the top of the breath, start to exhale, but take 10 counts. 9, 8, 7, 6. Continuing to draw the belly in and soften the ribs. Try to roll the shoulders back. 3, 2, and on 1, you should need your next inhale. Take a nice big inhale, fill up your lungs all the way. Challenging ourselves more, take 11 counts. 10, 9, 8, to empty out the lungs. Continuing to, again, engage that belly button into the spine, softening the ribs on the exhale, and allowing the shoulders to soften and roll back. We're going to take 2 more breaths just like this. Take another inhale, and this time try to count down from 12. Just go at your own pace here. This time, see, notice if your shoulders raised on your inhale. A very common thing in our breath is that we use all the other body parts except the muscles of the core to breathe. Take another inhale once you get to 1, and let's go 14. Can you count yourself down 14 counts without rushing that breath, without allowing your neck, your head, your shoulders to become involved? Are your eyes still looking over the horizon behind your lids? Belly drawing in, ribs softening in towards each other. Once you've exhaled to 1, just take a nice big inhale and an exhale to feel settled. So sitting on your mat, I want you to lengthen your legs out in front of you if that feels comfortable. I'm going to turn to the side so you can see. Point and flex those feet, and let's bring some movement into the body. Maybe curling the toes and then spreading them wide. I know a lot of us, again, have been sitting and have been doing our normal activities. Maybe pointing through the feet and making some ankle circles around in one direction and around in the other. And as you're mobilizing through these ankle joints, I want you to notice, are you still sitting up tall? Is your shoulders still over your hips? Are your ribs still drawing in? And are you still inhaling and exhaling? From here, I just want you to let those legs relax, shake them out a nice little bit, and lay those hands on the thighs. Let's start to move the spine a little bit more. Take a nice big inhale, and as you exhale, scoop the belly back and just round over the spine. Don't think spine stretch like the bat work. Just take a stretch through that upper spine, maybe through those hamstrings if you're super tight, and then stack your spine up nice and tall. Take a nice big inhale, and as you exhale, scoop the belly back and dive forward, and continue exhaling until you can't exhale anymore, cleansing out the lungs. And then inhale, stack the spine up nice and tall. One more just like that. Exhale, dive over. This time we're going to take an extra breath here, allowing the head to hang heavy if that's available for your cervical spine. Take an inhale, and I know we can't fill up the ribs in front of us very much, but can you expand your back and your shoulder blades and round your back muscles more as you inhale? And as you exhale, can you just sink deeper into that flexed position? Notice how your breath is helping you move more. Take a nice big inhale, sit up nice and tall, sweep the hands back behind you, and come into the oppositional position of extension. Fingertips facing behind or out to the sides, roll the shoulders back, allow the shoulders to draw together. Don't take the gaze to the ceiling. Look to where your collarbones are looking and be proud to be doing Pilates today. Take a nice big inhale, sit up tall, arms up, exhale, dive forward. Inhale here to rise up, and use your exhale to open up the heart and reach back to find extension. Take an inhale here, arms up, exhale, dive forward. One more flexion of the spine before we come back into extension. Inhale, come up, and as you exhale, go back to extension and hold. Try not to feel this work in your cervical spine. Relax the legs if you feel anything in the hips you're not a fan of. From here, we're going to take another breath. I want you to inhale and try to open the collarbones wider. But as you exhale, try to soften your ribs towards each other. Let's take another breath like that. Inhale, expand the chest. Exhale, soften those ribs. Sitting up nice and tall, I'm going to turn to face you. Bringing your arms out into a small V position. Don't go all the way into a T. Legs still comfortably in front. Rotate around to one side, looking over your right shoulder or your left shoulder, whichever way you want. Inhale back to the center and exhale to twist. On the next one here, inhale through the center, exhale, twist over. I'm going to cue the right side. Place the left hand onto the outside of the right leg and the right hand behind you on the mat and lift up tall. Let's explore here a little bit with our breath. Take an inhale, try to get taller. And as you exhale, just pull the belly button in a little tighter. On your next breath, inhale. And as you exhale, pull the belly in and see if you can twist a tiny bit more. Not by turning your head, but by trying to take your left rib around to your right rib. Take one more breath here, getting taller, like that corkscrew coming out of your bottle of wine later. And come back center, inhale, arms out. Exhale, twist to the left, do the same thing on this side, right hand to the outside of the left thigh, left hand back behind you, wherever feels comfortable, sit tall. Notice if one side feels a little stickier than the other. And as you're gazing over the shoulder, comfortably take an inhale, grow taller. And as you exhale, sink the belly button into the spine. On your next inhale, grow tall. And this time as you sink the belly into the spine, on your exhale, try to twist more by bringing your right rib around to see what your left rib is looking like. Don't turn the head more. Rotate from the whole spine. And come back center. Bring your right hand down to the mat and reach up and over for lateral flexion. Let's take another intercostal breath here, or a lateral breath. Looking up towards the armpit. Inhale, try to expand those ribs like a rainbow towards the ceiling. As you exhale, can you just sink deeper into that stretch? Let's inhale to come center. Exhale over to the other side. Shoulders are down and relaxed. Inhale, open up those ribs towards the ceiling. Gaze there if it feels okay. Exhale, soften the ribs and get deeper into the stretch. Notice how when you first started, you probably weren't as deep, but your exhale helped you get deeper. Let's go one more to each side. Just enjoy it. Inhale here. Let's take the exhale to take us to the other side, and then inhale here. And exhale back into the center. Let's bring our feet flat to the mat in front of us with the knees bent. Just open comfortably. If it's uncomfortable for your feet to be flat, bringing your heels onto the mat space is fine. For those of you with any type of herniation in the spine or any type of osteoporosis, we are going to start to go into some articulation exercises. If those are not for you, please take your own modifications today. Lifting up nice and tall, just bring those hands behind the thighs, flexing through the feet again if that feels more comfortable for you to sit. Without taking your chest back, first I want you to rock your pelvis back like you're aiming your sacrum or the waistband of your pants towards the mat space, allowing the spine to just gently go with you, and then stack your spine right back up. Inhale at the top of this motion. Exhale, this time look down between the thighs as you curl the tail to roll back. And we're going to start to articulate here. I'm going to add some challenges as we go. Just go about maybe to the waistband of the pants. If you want to start to add challenge, the arms can reach out in front. Use your exhale to come back up. And I want you to notice that that exhale is going to help you more and more. Because I want you to go down one tiny little bit further. And when you feel like you're going to get stuck, exhale and notice how much easier it is to come back up. Let's do a couple more like this. Hands can even come behind the head for even more challenge. Hands across the chest is a great modification. Coming right back up. We're going to take about 8 counts using our progressive breath to take us all the way down to mat space. Inhale, get tall. Exhale, curl the pelvis back, scooping that belly, soften the ribs, shoulders from the ears, and roll down as you exhale. We should be about 4, and 3, and 2, and 1. Once you find yourself down on the mat, bend the knees in towards the chest. Just rock gently from side to side wherever you are. Feeling that stretch in the lower back. Remembering to take any modifications you know. If I ask you to curl the head, neck, and shoulders up, and that does not feel like it's in your practice today, please keep them down. Remembering that the lower back is never arching off the mat when our legs are extended off the floor. From here, bring your legs into tabletop position as the arms settle down by your side. Open up the collarbones wide, even if you have to open the arms wider to feel proud of the chest. Try to bring the feet in line with the knees and the knees right over the hips, making your lower back nice and flat against the mat space. From here, taking your right toe, inhale, tap it down towards the mat, and then exhale, bring the legs back together to find tabletop. Inhale, tap the left leg, exhale, come back to table. As you alternate these legs, try to notice if your back is arching off the mat space and keep it super flat and down. If it is arching, shorten the range of motion and only let those feet go down as far as you can. From here, to challenge yourself further, both toes go down and both legs back up. Let's reconnect to the breath. Inhale the legs down, exhale to come back up. In fact, on the next one, inhale, tap the toes only to your place of challenge. Hold and draw the belly in, or your shoulders still rolling back to the mat. Inhale here. Exhale, pull the knees back up. One more here. Inhale, tap down a little bit. How far can you just hold? Don't let the lower back arch. Inhale. Exhale, draw the legs back in. Hug the knees in, rock gently from front to side. Good. From here, extend the legs up and grab behind those calves or thighs. Point and flex, get a little hamstring stretch going on through those legs. Maybe bring those ankle circles back into play. From here, find Pilates stance. If legs can stay long, that would be great. Otherwise, soften the knees to make a small V. From here, I want you to roll the legs slightly towards you until you barely lift your tailbone off the mat and then put it right back down. Starting to articulate the spine now in the opposite direction. Just the hip bones are rolling off. Your lower back never leaves the mat. Again, soften the knees if you need a little modification. And let's return to the breath. Inhale here. Exhale to lower down. As you lower down, I want you to try to feel each vertebrae in your lower back massaging down onto the mat. Again, if it bothers you, soften the knee. Let's take one more breath here. Inhale and exhale. Roll down for 5, 4, 3, 2, and placing your feet flat on the mat. Line up your heels with your sits bones. Let's start to open up the hips in the opposite direction. Pressing the feet down and the arms down into the mat. Take a big inhale with a flat spine. Lift the hips up and off the mat. Try not to exaggerate the ribs. In fact, while we're up here, maybe bring your hands back into play. Exhale and try to soften the rib cage in so it's the core supporting the spine while the glutes are helping to support the hip stability. And then lower back down. Let's take an inhale to boost up and an exhale to lower back down. If you would like to take this into articulation, my herniation and my osteo friends, you can take you flat back. If you're gonna articulate, curl the pelvis and exhale, again, one vertebrae at a time off the mat space to find your bridge. Inhale at the top and then exhale to lower back down. We're now gonna start taking what I call the double breath. We inhale to prepare. Exhale and use that exhale to massage the spine up and down off the mat. Inhale at the top and exhale to lower back and down. One more here. Take a nice big inhale, exhale, articulate up. And on the way down, roll the shoulders back, soften through that sternum, and one vertebrae at a time lands back down. Keeping your feet flat on the mat, send your arms up towards the ceiling. Let your shoulders roll it forward and back away from the mat space, opening up that shoulder girdle here. And then bringing those shoulders back down and towards the mat. Try to keep them away from your ears as we start to warm up more of our upper abdominals. Take a nice big inhale, and as you exhale, nod the chin to the chest and curl the head, neck, and shoulders away from the mat, reaching the hands long by the side. And then roll the spine right back down, arms to the ceiling. Let's do 2 more. Take a big inhale. Exhale, curl up. Hold here while you inhale, and as you exhale, I want you to watch that belly sink in deeper. Inhale to lower down. One more here. Let's curl up and stay there, exhaling, floating one leg into table, the other leg into table, and then lowering back and down. Continuing on with those head curls, let's just keep warming up those abdominals. We are eventually going to come into the 100. The 100 is a breathing exercise. As we go along, if you feel the need to lower the head, neck, and shoulders or return to a place of reprieve, remembering that lowering down in towards this position is always a really safe place. Even the head can lower down. On your next head, curl the head, neck, and shoulders up, gaze to the thighs or the pubic bone, and start to pump the arms up and down for the 100. Inhale for a count of 5, and as you exhale, I want you to watch your belly button suck your shirt in. Inhale, 3, 4, 5, exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Continue to breathe like that, pumping through the arms. Your arms are like your heart. I want you to pump big. I want you to get the oxygen to the toes, the oxygen to the top of the head. And then when you feel ready for challenge, extend the legs up for your first progression. And then if your back can stay flat on the mat, start to lower all the way down to your challenge point. From here, you can always return back to table. I want you to really focus, though, on sinking the belly into the spine. Give me 3 more breaths here. Inhale. And exhale, pull that belly in. 2 more breaths. Inhale. And exhale. Can you curl high? 1 more breath. Inhale. And as you exhale, imagine that there's so much space in your belly that you can really pull it in. It's touching your spine. And then hug the knees in, lower the head, and rock side to side. Should feel nice and warm. From here, going into single leg circle, extend your legs out long on the mat, bringing your arms by your side, right leg straight up towards the ceiling if that's available for you. A soft bend in the left or the right knee will help support the back, but the most important thing here is a stable pelvis. Extend the right leg up with a slight bit of external rotation and do not go big. Start small and draw about a dinner-sized plate circle at the sky. Inhale to start the circle, exhale to finish. Inhale to start, exhale to finish. Start to play with the range of motion, and as your pelvis starts to rock, that's when you want to exhale the most to try to keep it steady. When your leg is furthest away from your core, your exhale brings it to the top, reverse your circle. Inhale, start the circle, exhale, sweep it up. Make each circle its own entity, ensuring the pelvis is staying nice and steady, the shoulders are staying nice and steady. Can you even imagine you're standing up on your left leg? On your last circle here, stop your leg up towards the ceiling point, flex your foot a few times. Options to lower down, you can hug the knee into the chest for a little stretch through the lower back. Or leave the leg extended, flex the foot and engage those abdominals, pull the belly into the spine as you lower the right leg down and lengthening it away from you. You should feel like your right leg is longer than your left once you've done that. Your left leg comes up for single leg circle on the other side. Give me a slight bit of external rotation. Remember to soften the knees if you need to. And circle. Cross down, around, up, stop. Cross down, around, up, stop. Use that exhale to get the leg back up to the ceiling. Keeping the pelvis again nice and steady. If you're unsure, place your hands right on your pubic bone. Imagine a cup of water there. Don't spill it in your crotch. Don't spill it in the belly button. Reverse the circle. As you're going along, don't forget about the rest of the body. Can you flex your right foot, lengthen the right leg like you're standing up on the floor? Arms are long and strong, chest is proud. Last circle here, stop your leg to the ceiling, point and flex a few times, either taking knee to the chest for stretch, or flex the foot, lengthen the leg out of the hip socket, scooping the belly as you lower the leg down. Now our legs should feel the same length. Going right into the abdominal series, remember you can always lower the head if you need to. The lower back should never arch off the mat. If it does, your legs are too low. Bring the right knee into the chest. Curl the head up if that's in your practice. Left leg extends out into a place of challenge and start to switch the legs for single leg stretch. As you're switching, I want you to exhale as the knee comes into the chest, allowing the belly to sink into the spine, creating that space for your transverse abdominis and obliques to really pull in. If you know the hand placement, right hand to the right ankle when the right knee is in, left when the left is in. Don't pull on the knee joint too much. In fact, curl up higher to the knees than pulling the knees into the chest. Go for 5 and 4 and 3 and 2. On one, knees in, take a rest. Take a nice big inhale. We're going right into double leg stretch. I'll offer variations with the arms. Curl the head, neck, and shoulders up if that's in your practice for variation number 1. Arms and legs reach out in the same direction. Hug the shins back in. Again, back is never to arch off the mat. If it does, you've gone too low. Legs can go to the ceiling and come right back in. If this is hard enough, continue. Otherwise, bring the biceps by the ears and hug the shins back in. Inhale here and exhale to come in. Try to reverse the breath. Inhale here, exhale, and inhale. Pick which one works best for you, and then add a circling of the arms. Whoops, sorry, house. And hug the knees back in. Inhale, exhale. 2 more here. Don't let those arms go behind the ears. Keep the gaze to the belly. And then hug the knees, lower the head, and say hello to the abdominals. Right leg towards the ceiling. Grab behind the right calf or thigh. Extend the left leg out. That should feel pretty good for a stretch. Curl the head, neck, and shoulders up and begin to switch the legs for single straight leg stretch. And switch. And switch. Offering a little pull to the leg that's coming towards you. Just make sure you're not pulling the pelvis and the lower back off the mat. Gazing to the pubic bone, one leg brushes right past the other. Flex or point the feet, whatever offers your hips a better feeling here. And if you need to lower the head, you go right ahead and do so. You should never feel this work in your neck. It means you've lost your abs. No big deal. 5 more seconds here for 4, 3, 2, legs up on 1. Point and flex the feet for a quick stretch and then find Pilates stance. If it's available to stay curled up, sweep the hands behind the head for double straight leg stretch. Inhale to lower, exhale to lift. From here, you can soften the knees to find an easier position for the hips or the back. If that's bothering you, go to toe taps instead. Head, neck, and shoulders can always go down through all of those variations, but only let the legs lower as far as you can without arching. Let's go for 3 more here. Inhale, lower. Exhale. Inhale, lower. Use the exhale to bring the legs up. 1 more here. When the legs come up, the knees can come to the chest, and you can take a moment for yourself. From here, going right into crisscross, everybody's favorite. If it's in your practice to curl on up, bring the hands behind the head. If it's not, you're going to leave the head down and do single leg stretch. When your hands are in your head, place them either interlaced or one on top of the other, right at the opposite of that head, and really support the head and the neck with the hands. From here, extend one leg out and take the opposite armpit up and over to the opposite knee and start to switch. And switch, and switch. Never letting the hip bones rock on the mat. Again, keeping the pelvis steady. The gaze is going towards the back elbow that you're twisting towards this time. What about the breath? And exhale, exhale, exhale. Let's go for 5 more here. and 4, I need a rest, and 3, I'm talking at the same time, and 2, and 1, and lower down. Very good job, everybody. From here, bring yourself, your legs out nice and long on the mat if that's available. Soft knees is always okay. Arms go up towards the ceiling. We're just gonna do a simple roll up. You can use your hands to help you. The first one of the day is the hardest, and come sitting up nice and tall. Very good, everybody. All right, from here, sitting out nice and long in front of you, let's bring those legs out. Flexing through the feet for spine stretch. Legs open about the distance of your mat. Arms are gonna reach out forward in front. From here, going into spine stretch. Scoop the belly back as though you've been lassoed around the waist, and then round the upper spine forward. That should feel pretty good. Take a stretch. Grab the toes, why not? And then scoop the belly and stack right back up. Let's do that 2 more times. Exhale as you dive up and over. Hold it here for an inhale. Scoop the belly back more as you exhale. And then stack the spine back up. 1 more here, inhale, and as you exhale, dive it forward. And then come all the way back up. Taking this into saw, I'm gonna turn slightly to the side. Open the legs as wide as is available for you, even if it's off the mat space. Arms out to a wide T. Let's twist to the left. Look over the left shoulder. And then reach your right pinky finger towards your left pinky toe, scooping the belly back. Can you inhale here, and as you exhale, try to bring your right rib to your left one like we did in our warm-up for spine twist. Come all the way up on twist, go to the other side. Right arm back, left hand to the right pinky toe. Gaze back, and as you exhale, try to bring the left rib to the right. Come all the way up, take an inhale, and as you exhale, twist and reach. Bring your ear over the knee. What does it say? Come all the way up, untwist to the other side. And again. Inhale here through the center. Exhale, 1 more to each side. Can you keep both sits bones grounded more and both heels grounded more on the mat space? Last one here, reach to the right pinky toe. And come all the way up and take rest. Bring your legs together. You're going to scoot to the edge of your mat space. I will preface that we are rolling. If you are not a roller or a fan of rolling, you can just hold a balance. But otherwise, I am going to cue eventually the full variation. Make sure you have a safe space behind you and you're comfortable rolling on the pad that is underneath. Bring the knees into the chest and hold on to the shins as you float your feet off the floor and balance on your sits bones. If this already feels hard enough for you, stay where you are. All I want you to do is look up and see what everybody else in the room is doing. Hopefully there's nobody with you. And then scoop the belly and look back down. Social distancing. And then look back up. See if anybody's in your 6-foot space. And scoop the belly. Now if you want to roll, we're going to roll like a ball today. Remember, do not roll on the head and come back up to the same exact position you're in now. Take a big inhale. Roll back. Exhale and come back up. This is where your exhale is going to help you. So as you inhale, roll back. Take a cleansing exhale. Get all the air out of the lungs to come back up. I'm exaggerating that breath. Inhale, go back. Exhale, come up, balance on the sit bone. If this is hard enough for you, continue just like this, trying to keep your nose to your knees and your knees to your nose. If you want to challenge yourself further, grab the ankles and go into open leg rocker where we rock back the same way. But when we come up, we lift tall and proud. Inhale to rock back. You're definitely going to need your exhale to come up on this one. Last one here, take an inhale, look to the tummy, rock back. As you exhale, come up, find the sit bones, proud in the heart. And then bring the legs together, bend the knees, place the feet flat and down. We're gonna lie on our side, turning onto our left side. Stacking the right leg on top of the left. Options for positioning here, you can come and lie on your left arm. Prop your head up in your hand. Or come onto your forearm. Oops. A little better view. Come onto your forearm, but no matter what position you assume with the upper body, try to keep a little lift off of your the mat space with your obliques and your rib cage as though the mat was hot and on fire. From here, your bottom leg can stay bent for a base of support, but if you want the most challenge, extend the legs out nice and long towards the front corner of your mat with flexed feet. Top hand behind the head for the greatest challenge, good old-fashioned Joe Pilates style, or hand on the hip. Before we begin, take your top hip and try to tip it away from your rib, making both of your legs now the same length. And now you have a little tiny energetic or actual space under the side of your body and the mat. Inhale, lift the leg, exhale, low. I want you to use your exhale here to try to lengthen your leg further away from you. I want you to imagine I'm pulling it out of your hip socket, reaching your top leg longer than your bottom leg. Bottom leg is not lazy, press it down into the mat space to help you keep your top rib tipped away from your hip. Hands can always stay there to make sure your pelvis is not rocking. From here, lift the leg up for 5 pulses. 4, 3, 2, 1, lower down. Are you still lifting up that bottom oblique for 5 pulses up? And then lower back down. Use that exhale to help you find space underneath of that bottom oblique. Exhale those ribs in towards each other. One more set of 5 pulses. And then leg comes all the way down. Lift it up in line with the hip to swing it forward and back only as much as you can without letting the hips rock. Hands behind the head or on the hip are again the greatest challenge, but if you need more support from here, hand in front of you on the mat or bend the bottom knee. Inhale forward, exhale back. Point to come forward, flex to go back, or reverse that motion to add extra stretch through that leg. Let's go for 3 more here as your exhale still lifting your bottom rib off the mat. And for 2. And for 1, stop your legs over top of each other. Kick your top leg up and stamp your top foot on the floor in front of your bottom leg. Grab the front ankle and start to lift the bottom leg up and down. Much harder to keep that bottom oblique lifted. So as you lift the leg, exhale, exhale. Let's go 4 more. And 3, then we're gonna draw circles for 2. On 1, lift the leg, point the toe, and draw a circle about the size of a dinner plate. Try to keep the top knee and top hips right where they are. Top hand again in a place of challenge or balance. Bottom oblique still trying to lift. Oh, I lost it there. Reverse the circle for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and rest. Flipping over onto the belly, bringing your hands right underneath of your armpits. Allowing your legs to open so that your hips have a comfortable position on the mat. Don't be too picky with these hips today. I know we've all been sitting a lot. Coming into a brief swan, bring your eye gaze to the edge of the mat as you lift your nose like you just rolled a marble about 2 inches with your nose. Press away from the floor only as much as feels good for you. If you feel the lower back, you've gone too far. While you're here, take an inhale and open the chest. And as you exhale and lower down, try to bring the ribs closer together. Imagine that they're coming down to the mat like they're landing on the moon. Inhale, eyes lift, roll that marble forward, stick out the chest at the collarbones, but lift the tummy. And then lower down. And down, let's do 2 more just like this. Keep the tops of the feet pressing and the pubic bone pressing into the mat. We're not necessarily full extending the arms. And then lower, back, and down. Last one here, press up. Roll the shoulders back, lift the tummy, and just like we do chest expansion with equipment, look to the right. Keep the shoulders back, look to the left. Look center, and lower all the way down. If you feel the need for a quick child's pose, pop back before we do sideline series on the other side. In child's pose, allow the lower back to take a stretch, but keep your active belly. Pull your belly from your thigh. Use your exhale to walk your hands further from you. From here, flipping on to the other side, I'll stay facing you. Prop yourself up the same way here that you did on the other side, even if it's different from what I have done. I need a little modification myself. From here, extend the legs out, find that position of balance or challenge, and start to lift and lower the leg. Inhale up, exhale down. Inhale up, and exhale down. As you're going along, keep the chest proud, keep the hips nice and stacked. Inhale, and exhale. Let's go 4 more here, allowing that exhale to keep the ribs lifted up and off of the bottom of the mat. Let's go for 4, and 3, and 2. On 1, bring the leg up for 5 pulses, and then lower it down. I want you to notice that as you come up for those 5 pulses, that the ribs, your right ones, are trying to lower down onto the mat space. Use the exhale to help keep them up if they're falling. 1 more set of 5 pulses here, and lower down for side kick. Lift up that top leg, kick forward and back. Nice and smooth like you're working through thick mud. Positioning your top hand for challenge or balance. Note to self, we did have some people join late because they thought we started at 11 instead of 10, so I'm going to go a little bit over time for our friends. So if you feel the need that you've had enough workout, then you're welcome to go about your day. Otherwise, I'm going to keep on going, friends. Let's do 1 more forward and back here, stopping the leg right over top to finish. Kick that leg up and stamp it in front, lifting your bottom leg up and down for inner thigh lift. Grab onto the front ankle with your top hand. Can you continue to keep your bottom oblique lifted? Exhale, exhale. My rib likes to fall onto the mat as I lift the leg, so that's why I'm exhaling on the up. Shoulders and hips still stacked. Belly's in. What are your ribs doing? Can you soften them into your corset or your weight belt feeling for 3, for 2. Lift the leg, point the foot, and draw some circles. Let's do 8 circles here, trying not to rock the hips. This is my wiggly side. Is your top hip still trying to tip a little bit away from your top rib? If not, put some pressure into your top foot to help. And then turn your circles in the opposite direction. Push the top knee back as well to help stack those hips. Let's go for 3, and for 2, and for 1, and lower down. Finding yourself back onto your belly. Turning your right cheek onto the mat. Lengthen the legs out nice and long and bring your hands behind your lower back. See if you can grab finger to finger. If you can, slide your hands up a little bit towards the ribs. This is an intermediate exercise. If what I do does not even look like it's in your practice today, we're only going to do it 4 times. Find child's pose and take a rest. From here with pointed toes, I want you to kick your butt. 3, 2, 1. And as you extend your legs, extend your arms, come up and look like Superman. This should feel good for all of us sitting around doing nothing. And lower back down into the same position to kick for 3, 2, 1. And lift. Grab your hands and point the toes away. Shine your heart. And lower back down. 1 more each side. Kick, kick, kick. Double leg kick. Extend that spine. Look straight ahead. And 1 more to the left. Lower the left cheek, changing the head. Kick, kick, and lengthen up. And then lower back. Very good job. Prop yourself up into a 4-point kneeling position. Taking a little cat-cow here if that feels good for your spine. Maybe even a little wagging of the tail for the kitties as well. All right, keeping your hands positioned right underneath of your hands, or right underneath of your shoulders, we are going to go into leg pull front today. Leg pull front is just a plank with some fancy motion, so if you feel the need to, you can always just come into a bird dog type position. You can stay on the knees and still do the weight shifting forward slightly. Otherwise, I am going to cue full expression. From here, step 1 leg back, the other leg back, finding your plank position today. Shoulders back as though you're holding up the earth, really press down, push the heels away from the crown of the head, and gaze between your middle fingers. Step number 1, without lifting the feet, you can shift your weight forward by pointing to the toes, and then pushing back through the heels. This would be step number 1. If you want to go to full progression, find a plank and move with me. Lift the right leg, point it back behind you, otherwise keep pulling. Shift forward and backward 2 times. And then as you come back to plank, lower the right leg. Lift the left foot, point, shift 2 times. Try not to lift that pelvis parallel from the floor. 1 more each side. Otherwise, keep shifting or find child's pose if you feel like you need a rest. Last one here, lift the right leg, shift forward, back 2 times. And then lower back and down, bending the knees, find child's pose and rest. As you're here, scooping the belly still away from the thighs. Remember, we're still working the core and actively stretching through Pilates. But maybe reach the hands over to the left side of the mat, stretching the right side body. And then over to the right side of the mat, stretching the left side body. Good job, everybody. All righty. Last but not least, I want you to flip back over onto your back. We're going to do shoulder bridge and then eventually go into rollover. If a rollover does not feel like it's in your practice today, a shoulder bridge is a great exercise to continue with because it will strengthen your glutes, which we are all sitting on all day long. Find yourself lying down on your back with your legs tight together, feet flat on the floor, arms by your side. From here, boost your hips up 1 time and hold, balancing on your shoulder blades. Pull those ribs in. In fact, take a big exhale here. Now, while you're here, try to keep the pelvis and the glutes really tight and wrapped around your sits bones. Arms pressed down for a good base of support. Your breath is going to help you. Bring the right leg towards the ceiling. Flex the foot. Lower the leg until the knees are touching. Take an inhale and use your exhale. Get it back up. Inhale, can you go a little bit lower? The lower you go, the more you need your exhale. Can you go 2 more times here, gliding thigh by thigh, chins off the chest, arms pressing down, flex to lower, point to lift. Return the foot to the floor. Inhale here, if you need a break, exhale to lower. Otherwise, we go to the other side, bring the leg to the tabletop, leg goes up, flex the lower, point to lift, exhale. Inhale, lower, exhale, lift. Flex the lower, get a stretch. Are your arms and shoulders still pressing down as your chin off the chest? Your leg's not doing anything too crazy. Leg goes up. Put the foot back down. Legs back together where we started. Take an inhale here and hold with your exhale. Soften your ribs. Take another inhale, and as you exhale, melt your spine. Hugging the knees to the chest, going into rollover. If you feel like rollover is not in your practice today, you have 2 options, or 3 options. Toe taps, like we practiced at the beginning. Small pelvic rollover, like we practiced at the beginning, or any of the bridging variations, whether it be hip lift or spine articulation. or full shoulder bridge variation, or 5. Otherwise, legs to table, arms or legs go straight up. Find Pilates stance. With a nice big inhale, let the legs lower halfway. You need your exhale. Up and over you go. Try to line up your legs parallel to the floor in Pilates stance. Keep the legs together to start, and bone by bone, roll the spine down. If you feel like you get stuck, soften the knees to help you come down with control. Legs extend out, inhale. Exhale, roll up and over. If you want to challenge yourself, open the legs, flex the feet, and roll down with the legs open. Otherwise, keep the legs together and just continue. Once your legs come down and together, up and over you go again. Exhale. Flex the feet, parallel to the floor, roll down. 1 vertebrae at a time, and legs come back together. Let's do 2 more. Can your arms and shoulders stay a little bit flatter onto the back? I'm kind of talking to myself there. Roll the spine down, 1 vertebrae at a time. Legs come together. Last one here, up and over we go. If you have it in your practice to find your toes on the floor, take a little extra stretch, otherwise stay. And then with your legs parallel to the floor, exhale, and roll your spine all the way on and down. Plug the knees into the chest and gently rock side to side. Good, pressing up and off of your back, the easiest way you can. Coming into mermaid stretch, and this is where we will start to finish. Options for seated mermaid. You can come into what we call, excuse me, the Z-sit or the pretzel sit, where the right shin is going to start parallel to the front of your mat, and the left shin will start parallel to the side of your mat. If this does not even look like a good time for your hips, you can offer yourself crisscross applesauce, legs out in front, or even sometimes a diamond shape feels good. We are going to flow through some exercises where it will make that a little bit awkward, but just bear with your body, it still is going to feel good. Find whichever of those positions feels good for you with your left shins out to the side and your right shins out in front. Arms out into a T position. The nice thing about not being on the equipment here is we can go to both sides. Right arm goes down, left arm goes up. You can take a nice intercostal breath into those top ribs like we practiced before. And then exhale out all of that air. Take a nice big inhale into the center. Exhale up and over to the other side. Inhale into the right ribs. Exhale to soften them down. 1 more to each side, up and over to the right. Can you keep the left arm extended longer? Shoulders relax and gaze towards the sky. Inhale through the center. Use your exhale to take you over. Don't forget to exhale into those ribs while we're here refining. Right arm long. Can you keep both hips down a little more on the mat? And come all the way up and over to the right side, which is where we will stay. From here, take a nice big twist and see if you can bring both hands onto the mat, even if you have to walk the hands in towards you. Lowering down and coming up and lowering down. Just a little tricep push-up, more for the stretch in the back than it is for the tricep work. So roll the opposite hip back. Sorry, if you can't hear me, my lawn people started, I'm sorry. 1 more just like this. Press the arms all the way up. Bring your right hand back in line with your right hip. Open back up into a nice mermaid stretch. And come all the way up for your oppositional stretch. You're probably going to feel like you can get even deeper than you were before. Coming all the way up, take those legs in the opposite position. Left shins come forward, right shins out to the side. Arms out to the side as well. Try to ground both of those sits bones. The more you ground those sits bones, the deeper of a stretch you'll get here. To the left we go first. Inhale and then exhale up and over. And while we're here, we inhale into those top ribs. And exhale to come back up. Over to the other side, take a nice big inhale into those ribs. Can you gaze up towards the armpit? And then inhale, center. Just move here with your breath, however feels good for you at this point. It's not the hardest of workouts, but hopefully a little more connected with that breath than it was when you do some of maybe your other mat type workouts. And you can carry this over into that practice. Last one over here to the left. Take that right arm up and over with energy. Ground the right hip, knee, and foot back to the mat. Inhale. And as you exhale, twist. Bring both hands onto the mat. Notice if one side, it's my sticky side, feels a little funnier than the other. And see if you can come down and up for tricep press. I barely move on this side because I want to keep my hips grounded so I feel this nice stretch right along the back side, the right back side of my spine. For 3, and 2, and 1. Left hand back in line with the left hip. Open back up to face forward. You should feel like you can get even deeper into the stretch. Energy through the top arm. Inhale through the center. Exhale up and over to the other side. Look up towards the ceiling. Get as much stretch as you can as you inhale into those ribs. And then exhale to come all the way back and up. Coming on to the hands and the knees, facing whichever side of your mat you would like. We are going to come up into a quick little, what we call it elephant in Pilates, but downward dog, so to say, in yoga. We're going to come to standing and then finish with our final roll down into push-up. From here, tuck your toes under on the mat, hike your hips up, and find a stretch through those calves. Instead of walking the feet back like you would in yoga, I want you to actually scoop your belly and walk your feet in to try to find a deeper stretch to the back of the legs, even if the spine rounds slightly, just like elephant on the reformer. Lower and lift the heels a few times for a little extra stretch. For 3, scooping the tummy over the pubic bone. Pull it in. 2. And on 1, lower the heels. Soften the knees and walk your hands in, noticing how many steps it took you to do that. Let the head hang heavy for a moment. Scoop the belly and roll the spine up 1 vertebrae at a time. Standing tall at the top, allow the arms to sweep up. We're going to roll the spine down. We're going to take 3 steps with the hands to walk out for Pilates push-up. Remember, it's like a tricep push-up in yoga. Scoop the belly and waterfall the spine forward, diving down. Keep the weight towards the toes. Hands touch the mat. With 3 steps, 1, 2, and 3, we walk out to find plank. The elbows bend. We find 1 push-up, 2 push-ups, and we do 3. After the 3rd one, find plank. Hike the hips up like elephant. How many steps? Hopefully only 3 with the hands to come back in. Hang nice and heavy. Nod the head a little yes and no. Make some sloppy circles. Bend and straighten those knees. Maybe even let your arms hang a little bit, even if you have to roll away from the floor. From here, we're going to take 6 slow counts to roll up, and I want you to scoop that belly and really try to pull it in as you exhale. Take an inhale. Exhale up for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Arms up. Inhale. Take a big inhale while you're here. Remember what it felt like to inhale with those lungs really open. And then exhale, arms down by your side. Oh, very good job, everybody. Thank you for coming to my little workshop. Wasn't the craziest of workout we've ever done, but hopefully you learned something new about your breath that you can incorporate into your other classes. Stay tuned. We're going to do a bunch more stuff next week and for the weeks to come. If you have any requests and you're friends with us on Facebook or Instagram, please send us your thoughts and your feelings. We would love to hear them. We're here to serve you guys in this time off. We miss you, so anything we can do to help keep you guys on track, we're here to do. So please, please, please reach out. I'm going to leave this on for another few minutes. If anybody has any questions, you're welcome to come into the chat. Otherwise, mwah, I love you all. Mwah, I miss you all. And I will see you guys next week.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
You're
Thank
welcome.
Thanks, Leslie.
No problem. Nice to see you.
2 hugs.
Yes, I know, right? Virtual hugs for everybody.
Stay well.
You too, my friend.
Les, that went pretty good.
Was that good? How many people did I have? 30? Oh, yeah. All people I know. I love seeing all these faces. All right. Do I have to stop the recording or I just stop the meeting? End meeting.